morning. How are you? My name is Waceke Nduati May, humbled to be known as the founder of Centonomy, but more importantly, a student of life. Now, you guys have come, and on time, very early. You could have been doing so many other things on Saturday morning, but you're here at the Centonomy Open Day. Thank you very much for giving us your time. Now, why didn't you do all those things that you could have done on a Saturday morning? Please turn to your neighbor, tell them your name, whether you know them or not, and say, why are you here? Including the ones upstairs. I don't see you guys upstairs talking to each other. Okay. Excellent. It's always good to voice your objective for being here so that when you're being talked to, your ears are open to listen to the information that is being passed. We trust your, okay, enough of introductions, yeah? This will be here for 20 minutes introducing. But we trust your objectives will be met today. We trust you will not be the same today. And at the very least, you will know how to take the next step in meeting those objectives. So you've probably heard of Centonomy from different places. A lot of you were probably pushed to come here by the Centonomy alumni. Some of you may have heard us on radio. Some of you may have heard us on TV, the newspaper column that I write in today's magazine, social media. So what is Centonomy? We've been described as so many things. We've been described as a training company, a personal financial management company, a motivational company, a financial literacy company, and all those are true. But if I was to define Centonomy, the best way to actually define Centonomy is by what we believe. Our team at Centonomy have a very foolish belief. We believe everyone is meant to be wealthy. Everyone. Do you believe that? Yeah? It doesn't matter your job title, your salary, your lack of salary, your income level, whether you're working or not, the state of your business, your background, your education. We believe everyone is meant to be wealthy. We think everyone is going to get into or find their own way to create wealth differently. We believe no one is the same. There are different avenues, there are different vehicles to do that. But it's a right everyone has. And some of the people talking today will prove that maybe we are not so foolish. A lot of the people who've gone through our courses continue to amaze us and prove that maybe we are not so foolish. So our programs and the basic message in all our programs is find out who are you, find out what do you want for yourself. Because wealth is really about, first of all, let's find out what I want, then enter your individual process and allow yourself to come out of a comfort zone. So I'll be sharing my 2 cents on this process and coming out of a comfort zone later, so stick around. And I'll share a lot more about what the objectives of our programs are, which happen to have a discount on registration ending today. But I want to let our speakers first talk and share their experiences. I want to talk about something, and at the end of today, of what I'm going to say, I'll repeat a few things I've said a couple of times, but just so that certain things stick in our heads. But I want to first give you a story, yeah? Because everything Gladys, from Gladys, Alex, Coty, they've all talked about, the underlying word has been about process. It has been about moving out of your comfort zone. How many people here have children? Okay. Now my son is 4 years old. I'll deal with him when he's later to understand that I actually used this story on him. So I have a friend called Rose who is in the late stages of her pregnancy. And her daughter was staying with us. So I was dropping, together with my son, he's called Sheha, I was dropping her daughter back home. So when we get to her house, her daughter runs out of the car and goes and rubs her mother's stomach and asks, is the baby okay? And Rose says, yes, the baby is fine. So I enter the car back with my son, and I'm noticing he's usually very chatty, but he's so quiet. You know, the quiet of being disturbed. That was what he was. So I started the car, but I hadn't quite moved, yeah? Then he asks me, Mom, why did Auntie Rose eat her baby? I had to tell him, gosh, I've forgotten something at Auntie Rose. I'm coming back. I had to go and laugh, yeah? Because I didn't want to laugh in front of him because I don't want him to feel that he's asked a stupid question. But you see, for him, the context of a baby is my other son, who was 11 months old at the time. So he's wondering, how does someone the size of his little brother get into a stomach? He knows the only way things get into a stomach is food. But when he asked me, he was mortified because I think he was imagining her with a fork and knife, cutting up a baby and eating it, yeah? So clearly you can tell we've not quite had the birds and the bees conversation with him yet. And I find the strangest things to relate money with. And what my son did not understand about how obviously a baby gets into a stomach is the process. He only knows the finished product in terms of what his other brother looks like. He doesn't understand the process of a baby forming. But with money, even to create wealth, we've got to engage and understand it's a process. Many times we expect that something will happen, or I'll just go there, or we look at people who we perceive have created wealth, but what don't we take time to understand? The process. And to fully engage with process, there are a couple of things we have to acknowledge to do. You've got to be willing to come out of the comfort zone. You've got to be willing to be different, and you've just got to fully engage in your individual journey. There's an enemy to growth. Whatever growth you're after, personal, financial, career, business, relationships, there's an enemy to growth called the same. Write this down. There's an enemy to growth called the same. The same is the comfort zone people have been talking about and we get ourselves into. The same thinking, the same friends, the same money, the same use of time, the same kind of investments, the same excuses, the same way of resolving problems. And especially the same excuses. Do you find you've sometimes had the same excuses time and time again? Number one excuse, it's my employer who should be paying me more. It's the government, yeah? So before I go any further and I share any more, I always get audiences to do this. If you've done it with me before, bear with me. Do you have things about your financial life you want to resolve? Whose fault is it? So on the count of 3, I want a resounding, it's my fault, yeah? 1, 2, 3. It's my fault. Come on, with more conviction like that. You guys shout more for football, yeah? With the same way you shout for your favorite team in football, say, it's my fault, yes. Because once you accept that, then you know it's me who has to do something about it. I've learned a lot from the speakers today. You've learned something, right? And I know I'm not going to stay the same. And it's extremely good when the students become the teachers. Staying the same, whether we like it or not, means 2 things. You are getting less of what you truly want and more want. That's what staying the same will. That's the impact it will have on your life. And this is what I mean when I come down financially. This is what I mean by the same. More of the same sort of debt. The same sort of debt that one day will lead you into problems. The consumption debt. More conversations that have no impact. When we're usually around groups of people and people are talking about money, what are the words they're likely to throw out with money? I am broke, or about the problems. Please tell me who has created wealth by spending majority of time on conversations about people talking about how broke they are. Anyone? Anyone has a story to share? I'll give you the stage. Yeah. More of buying things to please other people and win their attention. You see, there's nothing bad. That great, fantastic car, there's nothing wrong with it. The phone you want to have, there's nothing wrong with it. The lifestyle you want to have, there's nothing wrong with it. This is when it becomes a problem. When we're doing it for other people. When you're consistently always wanting to upgrade something because you think other people will give you more respect or more attention or whatever it is. More looming dread of retirement because you've not planned for the day that you're not physically working. More regular income, and Gladys has already alluded to this. And regular income doesn't mean consistent income. Regular incomes means income derived with the same regular habits, regular thinking, regular ideas, regular ways of spending time. More passive investments. And these are investments, sometimes we're just investing, but it does not have a measurable impact on your life. That is what I call a passive investment. You're just building up a share portfolio, but you've not sat down to say, these shares that I'm doing, what is the end game? What is the result it's going to have? As in, what's in it for me? More wasting time. And when we're wasting time, what are we usually doing? Wasting money. More avoiding looking at your finances or having financial discussions. More children and generations that will inherit the same habits, behaviors, and thought patterns. Poverty is a mindset and it is generational. Because we pass on our attitudes, our children are watching us, so we pass on those attitudes to them. So if we don't change something with ourselves now, the likelihood is that they're going to develop the same habits. More reasons to procrastinate and do it tomorrow, and more lies we tell ourselves. And the list can go on and on. But like my son who could not see the process, we don't want to do the hard work, but we want the results, right? We want the wealth, we want the time, we want the money, we want the freedom. We live life thinking at one day, an unspecified amount of money, a deal, right? Will come, right? And just sort me out. And because of that cycle, you get less of what you want. So we've got to, first of all, there's no other way to put it. We've got to wake up, as some of the speakers have said today. We've just got to shake ourselves up. Like, literally shake. Stand up and shake yourself. Our mind plays games on us. Don't be deluded by the voice that's saying, let's see, next time, when I have more time, when my boss, the pressures on my work are less, when I have a salary, when my salary is increased, when I finish campus. There are many reasons we give ourselves to actually procrastinate. But when we do that, when we're giving to that voice that is telling us next time, and some of you know yourselves, this is your 7th open day, yeah? Something has got to change. You know yourselves. I won't point you, but some faces here are all too familiar, yeah? The next time I want you in an open day is on stage, sharing a story. But the screen you're seeing, what you're seeing up, is a typical result of doing the same. So we work harder, we earn more money, then what do? We buy more things. Then, and I'll just use a phone for example. Let's say, what is the latest Samsung phone? S6, yeah? If you buy, let's say I buy finally, because I'm saying, this Centonomy thing, let me first buy the S6, and then I'll go for Centonomy, right? So what is going to happen? Because I want to have the latest phone, I feel once I have the latest phone, my life as I know it is just fulfilled, yeah? What is going to happen when you buy the S6? S7. Suddenly yours is not latest anymore. So more things. The world is never going to run out of things to spend money on. Then we work harder. There are more things to buy. So we work harder, earn money, buy things. But the things too, we want more things. So we don't do work harder, buy more. Are you getting what you want from this cycle? Are you really getting the life you want? Yeah, because it's all about increasing how hard you work so you earn more money to buy more things. But doing things differently means asking, what do I do different so I can truly get what I want? And when we ask this question in our classes, what usually comes out is people are like, I want more experiences. I want to travel. I want to enjoy this kind of a lifestyle when I retire. So I want freedom in terms of time and money. Is this giving you freedom? That is why it's called a rat race. Because if you've seen, rats always chase their tail and never stop. So something has to move, something has to change, and it's all about doing things differently. Now, we've had entrepreneurs standing here. We've had people who are working standing here. We've had people who are in campus standing here. Do you? There is no one path for everyone. When you're trying to do something that is not you, this is what happens. That's a square peg in a round hole. What is happening to the peg? It's breaking. Do you have the same thumbprint as anybody else in the world, even if you have an identical twin? It means you are meant to leave your mark in a different way. Yeah? So when you try and do the same thing and the same way that everyone else is doing, like the peg that is breaking, it leads to frustration, it leads to unfulfillment, it leads to stress, and then you will enter this never-ending road of comparing yourself to other people. When your benchmark becomes someone else, it's all well and good to be inspired, but don't compare yourself with them. Connect with what you are meant to do in your own different way. Get your hands dirty. That's the only way to discover what's out there for you, and discover what works for you. And to be able to do that, there's one fear that we just must get rid of, and that is the fear of starting. Anybody scared of just starting? You're scared, yeah? Thank you, the ones who lifted up their hands, they just didn't mumble. Anyone scared of starting? Yes. And starting, I won't lie, it is scary, and we all have different places to start from. Again, we're not all in the same situations. There's some people here they've already got investments, but maybe the starting point from them is starting to see, can these investments work more effectively? Can I give them an objective? There's some people, they know theirs is learning something new. There's some, it will be, I need to get rid of my debt. There's some, it will be, I need to save more. There's some, will be, I need to have different conversations. And you will figure out what starting is for you. Some would be earning, I need to earn an income. I need to plan for retirement. And the only way, today we seem to have a lot of examples on sports. Kalkidan's was hiking, mine is running a marathon, yeah? I've not yet run the marathon yet, but let me tell you where I am, yeah? I'm training to run the Lewa Marathon, 21 kilometers. Now, when I started training, it was the hardest thing ever. And this is when your mind is totally in control of you. We can't finish. Let's just stop here and walk. It's so far. Even in Lewa, they allow people to walk. What's the problem? This is as you're trying to run. What's the problem? It rained. I think it looks like it's going to rain. And I'm not even talking about the days it literally flooded. I'm talking about the days when you've just seen a cloud. Your mind is telling you how that is just going to be El Nino. Let's not be outside, yeah? But you push through it, and some days you fall. Some days I won't lie, I've given into it. But the next day I'm like, I learn it, and I'm like, those are tricks. And I've reached a point where even if I get up to just do 500 meters from here to there, at least I got up. And now, even when I'm running, again, the mind, as Tol is telling you, the mind is telling you how far it is, how far you've got to go. But there's a particular day I remember, I just said, I'm not going to worry about how far I have to go. I'm just going to observe where I am now. So I started concentrating on my breathing. I started just focusing on how my legs moving. And I noticed as I stopped worrying about how far I have to go and concentrating more on the present moment, it gave me the impetus to go further. And that particular day, I ran farther than I had ever run.